Welcome back to Good Morning Kansas. I'm putting on the gloves and we are cooking with cake yet again. I'm so excited because this recipe has become a favorite in our household and I just started creating this thing about a month ago. If you love brownies and you want a little twist to it, I have the perfect recipe for you. We are making these chocolate chip cheesecake brownies. I've mentioned them. I've shown them off here on air, but haven't demonstrated to you all how to make them. And it's pretty simple. So if you love chocolate chip cookies, I'm sure that in your family, you probably have a recipe that you just is your go-to. For me, I love this recipe by Ghirardelli. I don't use their chocolate chips necessarily, but it's a really good recipe. Butter-based and just so decadent, so delicious. And so I went ahead and made the chocolate chip batter, the dough for this, and I went ahead and put a thin layer of it at the bottom of this 9x9 pan. I also went ahead and put a layer onto a couple of wax sheets. So I put between a couple pieces of wax paper, rolled it out to the size of that because we're going to use that to top our brownie recipe at the end. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and make that cheesecake part of the recipe. So good. I went ahead and softened a whole package, so 8 ounces of cream cheese, put it here in this bowl. I would say if you go and you soften it maybe for like 30 seconds or so, it'll do you some good. Put in here a ½ cup of sugar, and I'm going to mix it around until it's smooth. I want to mix it just a little bit so everything's kind of incorporated a little bit before I add my teaspoon of vanilla. So this is our cheesecake part of the recipe, and in addition, you'll actually add an egg to it as well. I already have that incorporated to everything that we need this morning. Again, mix, mix, mix until everything's all good, and then we will go and pour this onto, I want to mix it really nice. Make sure there's no lumps. You don't want lumps in this. Lumps are not our friend. And we're going to pour it onto our chocolate chip cookie mix. You could put this in a little bit longer of a pan, like a 9x13, and it probably would turn out okay, but this will give us a nice thick cheesecake layer, which is fun. You gotta love some brownie layers for the morning. Let's get that all out of here. I want every bit, I'm telling you. I'd lick it out of the bowl, but I don't think that's safe. I don't think that's well accepted here on TV. All right, so we'll spread it out, and then I'm going to, with this recipe, I figured I'd change it up just a tiny bit, and I'm gonna add a layer of raspberry preserves to the top, because I just thought, I love like thumbprint cookies. I don't know if you all have them, where you might use it with a chocolate chip cookie dough, or maybe with a shortbread or something. Put a little thumbprint, and you put a jam inside there. So I'm gonna take this set of raspberry preserves. The only bad thing, if you have braces or something, you may not like it as much because the preserves part, at least if you have seeded raspberries, they'll show up on your teeth. I kind of feel like I'm that person where it always shows up in my teeth somehow. It's a light, thin layer. It certainly would be easier to spread if you went and you chilled your cheesecake layer and then put this on top, but it's okay. Not so bad. I have about a ½ cup here. You could probably even go for a full cup if you want a fully integrated layer on the top of this. I'm going to smooth it out just a tiny bit. I love raspberry preserves, but if you like something like a blackberry or a strawberry preserves, I think those would go well. I bought this like over at the Dollar Tree, which was great. It's a pretty big jar, but it has a lot of seeds in it, so. All right, then we're going to work for our top layer here. So I went ahead and rolled out this layer of chocolate chip cookie dough, kind of in the shape as best as I could to our pan, our dish. I put it between the wax paper so I can go and pull it off here as best as I can. You might, with your recipe, have an extra bit of chocolate chip cookie dough like this. I saved some baking pans, brought them here this morning just in case. We could probably roll out a couple of cookies with that, or you could probably just squeeze it in the pan. But that's it. You go and you take this and you bake it in your preheated oven, 350 degrees for 30 minutes, and you make this really delicious, decadent brownie recipe. Layer of chocolate chip cookie dough, cheesecake, and with this case today, a little extra preserves to give it that little something special, a little tartness to it. It's something that I think definitely your crowd will love. You can see the full recipe on the Cake Good Morning Kansas Facebook page. I shared it on there right now. I put a bunch of different recipes on my Facebook, and I think a lot of people, this is one that was highly requested by some folks, and I thought, well, we'll share it here this morning and maybe inspire you as you heat up your kitchens for the morning. You don't want to do it during the day, but if you want to heat it up for the morning, this could be a really good one to have and share with your family. We'll be right back.